you're watching GW News Recap. I'm your anchor, Azan Jamir, bringing to you the top stories of the week. Let's have a look at the stories that made it to the headlines. In connection with the abduction of 56 years Kieto Chimomi, 4 NSC and K Kokrajhar captors were handed over to police while 3 involved are still absconding. The Nagaland School Education Department will close 34 government primary and middle schools across the state from the academic session 2026 to 27 over non-functioning or zero enrollment. The National Socialist Council of Nagaland, Yongang, and the United Liberation Front of Assam Independent have jointly called for a boycott of the Indian Republic Day celebrations. Voters in Myanmar cast ballots in the third and final phase of the country's general election today. And now the news in details. A businessman who also serves as a head convener of Kokrajhar village was allegedly abducted on the evening of January 19 by the captors of the NSC Kokrajhar. The victim, identified as Kieto Chimomi, kids later told the media while undergoing treatment at a hospital that he was taken from outside his residence, blindfolded and transported to an undisclosed location. He alleged that he was suspected of physical torture during his detention. According to the businessman, his captors initially demanded rupees 40 lakh and later forced him to sign an agreement to pay rupees 30 lakh within 5 days. He stated that the document was signed under duress, fearing for his life, and maintained that he was no means to meet the demand. He was reportedly released around 2 a.m. on January 20. The abduction of Kieto Chimomi triggered massive condemnation across state that sparked outpour of anger and frustrations, where civil society organizations voiced out against the illegal activity and safety of citizens, urging the law enforcing agencies to immediately look into the matter. A day after 3 NSC and K Kokrajhar captors were handed over to Nagaland police for questioning in connection with the alleged abduction and assault of Kieto Chimomi. Another person was reportedly handed over to the police on January 24. According to sources, the individual was identified as H. Kipa, who has been discharged as a finance secretary of NSC and Kokrajhar faction. It may be mentioned that H. Kipa and Joint Secretary Kokrajhar on January 23 were issued forced discharge ASA from active and primary membership of the government with immediate effect. Director General of Police Rupin Sharma had informed the media that 3 functionaries, Lovito Yepto, Hukeve Yepto and Winiho Kiho, were handed over to the police for questioning in connection with the case. Meanwhile, police also conducted search at Ceasefire Supervisory Board Office, Tilika Village on January 24 and seized 2 computers for evidence. The prime accused Kokrajhar and 2 others are still absconding, and thus the search, or rather investigation, continues into nabbing the persons involved. The Nagaland School Education Department will close 34 government primary and middle schools across the state for the academic session 2026 to 27 over non-functioning or zero enrollment. A notification issued on January 20 said the decision follows approval of the State-Level Education Committee based on the physical verification report of zero enrollment and non-functioning of the schools. The schools to be closed include 11 each in Wokha and Sanaputu, 3 in Kiferi, 2 in Miluri, and 1 each in Longling, Mokokchung, Mon, Newland, Pak, Shamator, and Twinsang. The department also merged 17 government schools from this academic session. Further, 23 new private schools across the state have been granted provisional permission to open. Assam's Kokrajhar district is gradually limping back to normalcy after days of tension as a peace and confidence-building meeting was held on January 21 to restore harmony in the violence-affected Boro heartland. Stressing unity and restraint, participants appealed to all sections of society to maintain peace, strengthen dialogue, and uphold communal harmony. It was also decided that a joint team of officials and community representatives would visit the affected areas to assess the ground situation and engage with local residents. Citizens were urged to remain calm, cooperate with the administration, and avoid spreading rumors or misinformation. Assam Minister Jayanta Mala Bara described the recent incidents as unfortunate and said they had caused widespread concern. Kokrajhar had witnessed widespread unrest following a mob lynching incident on January 19, allegedly triggered by a road accident at Kokrajhar. The incident sparked protests, clashes with security forces, arson, and damage to public and private property, including police infrastructure. Several police personnel were injured during the violence. In response, the army was deployed with 4 columns conducting flag marches in sensitive and vulnerable areas to reassure residents. A heavy security presence continues across the district. Internet services remain suspended as a precautionary measure, while Section 163 of the Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Sanhita restricting the gathering of more than 4 persons remains in force. So far, 18 people have been arrested in connection with the violence. Authorities said sustained peace, community cooperation, and vigilant security measures will be crucial to ensure that Kokrajhar fully returns to normalcy in the coming days. The National Socialist Council of Nagaland, Yungang, and the United Liberation Front of Assam Independent have jointly called for a boycott of the Indian Republic Day celebrations on January 26 across what they describe as the Vizia region. In a joint press statement, the groups opposed the observance of Republic Day, alleging that the celebrations are imposed under the presence of armed forces. The group said India would once again unfurl her colonialist flag all over the Vizia region, describing the celebrations as an attempt to project Indian nationalism while, according to them, concealing the political realities on the ground. The groups claim that the people of Vizia never joined the Indian Union of their own free will and alleged that the region was annexed by force. For this reason, the statement said January 26 represents a hollow mockery rather than a day of celebration. The joint statement also criticized India's democratic credentials, claiming that civil liberties have eroded over the years and that minorities live in a climate of fear. On this basis, it described the Republic Day celebration as lacking legitimacy in the region. In this sense, India is not a democracy but an authoritarian regime, it said. Calling all Vizians to support the boycott, the groups urge people to exercise your sovereign birthright by refraining from the imposed celebration. The boycott, according to the statement, will be observed in the so-called states of Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, and Manipur. Voters in Myanmar cast ballots in the third and final phase of their country's general election today. The pro-military force is expected to win control of the legislature, but international observers have questioned the election's legitimacy. The voting has been conducted in 3 phases across different townships since late December. The military has been in charge of the election, claiming it is aimed at transition to civilian rule. The junta seized power in a coup 5 years ago, but the country is still locked in a civil war between the military and pro-democracy and other forces. The results from the first 2 phases announced by the Election Commission shows that pro-military lawmakers are poised to take control of the 2-chamber parliament. 1/4 of the total seats are allocated to the military under the constitution. These, combined with the seats won by the junta-backed Union Solidarity and Development Party, already add up to a majority. The final results will be announced later in January. This military is expected to maintain its influence in Myanmar's new governing body, which will be launched as early as April. In a significant breakthrough, security forces on Friday neutralized top Pakistani terrorists of the Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed outfit in an encounter in Katwa district, police said. Acting on specific intelligence inputs, a joint operation was launched by the army and police on January 23rd in the general area of Bahidar. The area was cordoned and contact established. In a precise strike by the joint forces, 1 foreign terrorist has been eliminated, the Army's Rising Star Corps said. Officials identified the deceased terrorist as GEM Commander Usman, also known as Abu Mabia. A large quantity of arms and ammunition, including an M4 automatic rifle, was recovered from him during the operation in a remote village in the Bahidar area. The officials said Usman was one of the most wanted JEM terrorists active in the Utambur-Katwa belt for the last couple of years after infiltrating into India from across the border. He had escaped several encounters in the past, the latest being on January 7 and 13 in Kahok and Nachode Forest, respectively, they said. The official said the Joint Search Party raided a house but came under the fire from a hiding terrorist on January 23 afternoon. The search party is reacted swiftly and shot him dead in close combat. The encounter lasted for a few minutes only, the official said, terming the killing of the dreaded terrorist a major crackdown for the security forces. Meanwhile, security forces continued their anti-terror operation to hunt down 3 JEM terrorists in Somnar Mandral, Singpora and adjoining forest areas in Charto belt of Kishwar district. Well viewers, that's it for this week's news recap, and for more news like this, you stay connected to Global Window. Goodbye.